Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Special thanks to Kathy, Nick, and John for putting this presentation together and taking the time to do this for everyone tonight. With that, I am just going to hand it right over. So tonight we're going to go through the introduction of the group moderators on the Facebook page. One is missing today. An introduction to what that private group actually is, the benefits of using this group and what the page looks like. There are some guidelines and using the page. And then we'll go through the 4 steps and really kind of what that looks like for a Facebook group like this. And of course, we're going to take some questions at the end. So I will turn it over to Kathy to introduce herself. Of course, our moderators are more than just Facebook page moderators. They have a long history with recovery as well. Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks, Angela. Hi, everybody. My name's Kathy Shegda, and I am one of the administrators or moderators on the private RI Facebook page. I'm also a leader for the Swarthmore, PA Zoom meeting on Wednesday nights at 7. I've been in recovery for about 35 years, so this is a great program, and I offer it up to anybody that comes to me and talks about issues with, anxiety, depression, whatever. I am a for recovery all the way. I want to thank you today for joining us for this meeting and understanding how the Facebook page works. And we just ask you again, if you have any questions, we'll answer them. There are no silly questions whatsoever, okay? And with that, I will turn it over to our next moderator, Nick.
Thanks, Kathy. Hi, everyone. My name's Nick Silverstein. I am one of the Facebook administrators, and I came to RI in June of 2021, and it's been an important part of my life ever since. I am part of the Recovery Online team. I lead a meeting here on Zoom Friday mornings at 10 a.m. We get together, we give examples, we practice the method just like any other meeting. And I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy for all of you to be here. And I hope you enjoy what you hear tonight. And I will turn it over to John.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Yes, good evening, all. I'm John Cini. I'm like everyone else here, a page moderator on the Facebook page. And that means I basically observe the people putting data in as posts and as spots. And I've really learned a lot since I've done that. It's been a great experience. I also host a face-to-face meeting for RI in Londonderry, New Hampshire. It's about 35 miles north of Boston. And we meet there Thursday evenings from 7 until 9. And I'm also fortunate enough to be on the board of directors. So I've had a lot of involvement with RI in the last approximately 11 years. So delighted to be here, and thank you for attending tonight.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about is what is Recovery International Face Group. Our page is a private page. The only people that anybody that can see anything on the page is just the RI members that are paid members. Is a private page, so no one else can see what you have posted other than the members from RI. This is part of a benefit of becoming a recovery member. To be a recovery member, you get to be part of the recovery Facebook page. You get the newsletters, you get the weekly Wednesday wisdom. You can get free training on some classes that recovery offers. And you can also download some of the works of Dr. Lowe. So we're going to go over how the Facebook page helps you practice the RI method. So it's just like in a meeting, how you give an example, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So we're going to help you go through each step and help you to learn basically how we moderate the page and what we ask of our members. So with that, we'll get started. Okay, so what is Recovery International's private Facebook group? So we're going to put a focus on our private Facebook page tonight. It is available 24/7. That's what's so great about it. If you can't sleep during the night, you need to put an example up, it's there to be put up. So you can do it on your phone, tablet, or computer. We go again, just like an regular RI meeting, we post the example and follow the steps, and we comment on others' examples with the spots from the Recovery International. Again, John and Nick and I and Jenna are the moderators of the page. So we each have certain days where we just go in and we just follow what's being put up on the page to make sure that everybody's following it in the order that we ask. Okay. So the benefits of becoming a Recovery International member, of course, you have access to the weekly wisdom, the recovery reporter, the recovery workshops, which are fantastic, the private Facebook page, the PDF from selections from Dr. Lowe's work that you can download, the passion for self-distrust, and we're all here to support each other. This is such a great organization to help each other through our good times and bad times. Everybody's become friends to me. I call everybody my RI friends. So what an organization that we can all be support for each other. So we're going to go along with this, the benefits of becoming a recovery member, and we're going to do, again, follow the steps that we've learned in our recovery meetings. But remember how much recovery is important to us. It's such a big deal for our mental health. I don't know what I'd do without it. Okay, so how does the Facebook page help you practice the method? So the typing or writing, saying, and thinking of an example which engage different parts of your brain, and you can have varying impacts on cognition. So we know how it is. It's a great form of objectivity when you write out an example or you type out an example. And it engages us with the other members of the Recovery International organization. So as I always say, there's nothing silly to put on the as an example, because we've all been there. Okay, Angela. Saying an example, this involves internal processing and mental repetition and engaging memory functions of the brain. It can help with recall, but might not provide as much reinforcement as internalizing the spot.
I think what we're accomplishing with this Facebook page is an opportunity to practice. We can go through a week and we might get worked up about something, and we'll hopefully quickly think of a spot that helps us reduce our temper and work ourselves down. And that's a win. That's really like, oh yeah, that's great. But the ability to do that quickly, the real key ingredient is practice. And if you say a spot instead of just thinking a spot, the efficacy it goes up from like maybe 35 to roughly 60%. And if we go to the next slide, I think it starts to talk about the value, the difference perhaps between speaking it out loud and the idea of just thinking it. Now, sometimes, as many of you know, we need to repeat spots. We don't just think them once or say them once, but multiple times until we actually feel the effect of temper coming down. And then the next slide points out to the value of typing. Typing is like real forced objectivity. This is where you're moving your muscles, you're commanding your muscles to take both the example and the spots associated with it, the full method of the full 4-step outline. This is a fantastic exercise, and it's almost like going to a gym. You get stronger physically if you go to a gym. if you're doing this exercise of the four-step method more than just once a month because you went to a meeting or twice a month, something like that, but potentially this could almost be a daily activity. It only takes perhaps 10 minutes to do this, but every time you do it, you get a little stronger, you get a little more competent, you get a little more kind of fluent with your own set of spots, and you feel better and better. Mental health is, fortunately for all of us, it's not a static, it's not a, oh, you've got this for a level of mental health and it's not going to change. Unfortunately, it can go down, but because of spotting, because of practicing, because of utilizing these methods, our mental health can go up, and it's a beautiful, a beautiful condition, and that we're all practicing the same way, and it reinforces it for all of us. So it's a really good thing.
All right, so the first thing you want to do, if you've never seen the page before, you want to go up to the top of your Facebook page and type in Recovery International Private Group. And this is the page that'll pop up. And this is what it looks like. And you'll see down there where it says write something. You'll click on that. And you can type out your example. And I believe in one of the upcoming slides, we will show you how to write or what that format looks like. But you'll see here that the private Facebook group community guidelines is circled. And this is a private closed Facebook group. And I just want to reiterate that what that means is absolutely nobody who is not in the group will see what you post or what you comment on. It is 100% private. So if you're worried that so-and-so might see if you make an example out of that person, no, they won't, because they're not in the group. Only group members can see what you post. Next slide, please. So our page is run just like a meeting. We post, examples, and we comment on other people's examples. Those are spots that we comment, by the way, and we don't give advice, just like we don't give advice in our meetings. We also don't crosstalk, or we try not to crosstalk. And what that looks like is like if someone gives a spot and then you say like, oh, thank you for that spot. Yeah, that's a really great spot. And we try to also stick to posting examples only. So when you post, try to only post examples. Oftentimes we see posts like, oh, what page is this spot, or what book is this spot from, or, what time is this meeting? And those are all great things. But for our page, we just ask that members just post examples and comment spots. And usually on the meeting pages, on the meetings page on the website, the leader of a specific meeting will have contact information so that you can ask them your specific questions about meetings, or you can contact one of the offices about questions about books and pages and what have you. Yeah, so basically what I said, we don't give advice, we don't share posts, and we don't share personal or private information. Even if we're just all in the page together, we still don't want, we don't want to know those intimate details about you, even though I'm sure you're a lovely person. And we don't advertise things, and we don't do personal attacks or trolling. Obviously, we are all about mental health and maintaining and protecting our mental health and helping others to relieve from the symptoms. So we don't want to be, we don't want to cause more symptoms. And let's remember to always be group minded of other people as well. And once again, and because even after today, people might wonder, is it really private? Is what I say absolutely going to be 100% confidential? And yes, 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 1,000 times yes, everything is confidential. Everything is private. The only people that will see your posts are people within the page. Nobody outside of the page will see that. No, there's none of that. We try to maintain, even though we're not professionals, I like to think that, we try to maintain a sense of confidentiality or professionality, I guess. And we want to maintain a level of confidentiality. So what you see on the page should stay on the page. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to show you how to post an example to the group. So as I stated, you're going to click right there on write something. And that's pretty self-explanatory. And you'll type out your example using the 4-step method. So step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4, just like you'd be in a meeting. Not that this is important, but you don't have to write out, report a single, you don't have to write out what the steps are. You just tell us, what your 4 steps are. So we don't need to know, like don't type out the 4 steps of Recovery International. Just type out yours. And then once you're done and you're happy with how it looks, you'll click post and it will go, it will be live on the page. All right, so now we're going to talk about how to find recent postings. So you'll want to scroll down on the page, and when you scroll, you'll be able to scroll through all the examples, and there's going to be a drop-down menu with some options: most relevant, new posts, and I don't remember what the other one is. I think top posts or whatever. And I think if you want to see the latest posts or the latest spots or, what the newest, hottest example is, I guess, you can click on newest post or new posts. And you can go that way. Either way, you'll be able to see, what new examples are from that day, and you can scroll through and read. Sometimes just reading through examples without even posting your own examples, sometimes they're helpful. Next slide, please. So now we'll talk about how to spot. So you'll find what you want to spot on, and you'll click write a comment. Next slide. So then you'll write the spots that you want to write, and remember to keep it to spots. I also want to reiterate something that I said that I've always said in my meetings, and it's part of RI. We want to only give spots from Dr. Lowe's writings. We don't want to give advice because we're not professionals, but we also don't want to bring our own experience into an example. We want to keep the example giver, or we want to keep the example about the example giver and about the example giver only, as to help them lessen their symptoms. So let's only keep our comments to spots. And that also includes other distracting things, like let's not do pictures or GIFs or anything like that. Let's just stick to spots. Next slide, please. And then you'll either click that button or you will hit enter, depending on what device you're on, and it'll be live. So now I'll show you how to write an example. So we want to follow the 4-step method, just like we would in a regular meeting. And as we know, that the example format will help you to report rather than complain. Note your symptoms, check on your responses, control your behavior, use the tools to change your thoughts, see our progress, praise ourselves or endorse ourselves, which is a big part of recovery, and learn simplicity instead of complexity. So step one, as we know, is report a single situation or an event that occurred, an everyday event when you began to work yourself up. Focus on a brief description of what happened, specifically what triggered temper and symptoms. And I want to reiterate brief. So we want to try to keep it to 1 to 2 sentences because we know that, if we start storytelling or we get into those extra details, it works us up. Dr. Lowe teaches us to talk it up is to work it up. All right, so in step 2, we want to report on the symptoms we experience, both physical and mental. And you can see everything in the parentheses that we talk about. Confusion, palpitations, all those physical sensations that we get. And I feel like, talking about what's going on in step 2, it really helps because I think when things like this happen, we don't really stop to think about what we're feeling. So like I stated, we state our feelings, sensations, thoughts, and impulses. And I want to also reiterate, because I see this a lot, we share our angry temper no, we don't. We share our angry and fearful thoughts. We do not talk about our tempers. We save our angry and fearful tempers for step 3 and step 2. We want to focus on the thoughts that we had. So, our angry thoughts, he is wrong. This is wrong. Why is this happening? Things like that. Those are thoughts. Whereas the tempers, which Kathy will talk about in a minute, are directed at specific outer environment and, fearful temper, inner environment, those kinds of things.
Thanks, Nick. All right, so we all know step 3 is reporting your spotting of fearful and angry temper, the Recovery International tools you use to help yourself, and your self-endorsement for your effort. So when Nick said a lot of what I was going to say about when we spot, we're going to use only the Recovery International tools. We get these tools from the books that we've read from Dr. Lowe. And as we say them over and over and hear them over and over again, it's not even something that after a while you even have to look up, that they start, clicking up here. But we only do use Recovery International tools. If something is put on there that is not recovery, it will be deleted. So we spot like we spot in a meeting. I usually myself, when I'm spotting on someone's example, I will spot the example giver or he, she, they. I will put they face tolerated and endured. That's an example. When there's a spot put on the recovery page for an example, if someone puts, for example, endorse like a flowing stream. Okay, well, that's really not the full spot. So it's an endorse like a calm flowing stream. We wouldn't take that off, but we might, as administrators, put a comment under it. We might put the exact right spot that it is. If there's something on the page under the step for spotting that may be okay, but we may ask you to change a little bit, you'll be sent a message from us to say, okay, this is okay, but could you edit this to read whatever? Okay, we're not here when we do this page to like admonish you for anything that you put on there. I highly endorse everybody that comes on this page. It's wonderful. But sometimes there's little things that we do have to take off or we have to ask you to correct. Let me see. So we do not add to spots. If someone, if you spot possibly like this is distressing, not dangerous, however, some people might say, this has happened to me too. Okay, so it is distressing, but not dangerous, but we're not going to add the part, this has happened to me too. So we may have to take that off. So you might see that once in a while. Okay. We do not put any memes, pictures, GIFs, or anything like that under the comments. They will be taken off. As again, I say we only keep to the RI spots. And I said, once in a while, you might make a little error. We're not going to, sometimes we'll leave it on. It's okay. It's okay. Don't feel stressed. We don't want to put you in symptoms again, putting up an example. Let me see. Do the best, as I always say, do the best you can with the guidelines for spotting. We don't have Facebook jail, so you'll be okay. We won't put you in Facebook jail for anything. Just do the best you can. And if you have any questions, always reach out to Recovery. We'd be happy to answer anything, okay? Okay, go ahead, Angela. So step 4, we're going to go with before I had my recovery training and describe the temperamental reaction and symptoms you had experienced in former days. What would have happened then versus what happened now? This will help you note the progress you have made. So we all know this step is to show you how you might have handled something before you came into recovery, excuse me, and how different it is since you came into recovery. Go ahead, Angela. So, for example, before recovery, I would talk this situation up with anyone who would listen to me. Since recovery, I've learned to talk it up is to work it up. So I controlled my speech muscles and went about my day. Very simple, very easy to understand. Oh, look how they handled that before and how they handled that after. Before recovery, I would lose my temper over simple, irritating things. Since recovery, I've learned trivialities like this work us up the most, so I drop my temper and let it go. Before recovery, I would not get out of bed in the morning because of my symptoms. Since recovery, I know staying in bed is sabotage, so I move my muscles to get out of bed and endorse myself for everything I do, and that's Pardax. Before recovery, I would not even attempt to get up in front of anyone and give a speech, but since recovery, I know we have to do the things we hate and fear to do in order to get better. I was in symptoms, but I did give the speech. I endorsed myself for giving the speech and bearing the discomfort. I might use that tomorrow night after saying I had to do this Zoom meeting tonight because it gets you little symptoms, but I'm okay. Before recovery, I would not know how to stop the panic. Since recovery, I practice objectivity to relieve me from my symptoms, even if it's only for a little time. Just something simple. We don't have to go into a full-blown story. Just something simple that everybody can understand and see the difference you've made in recovery. Okay, go ahead, Angela. Okay, so here are some of samples of actual posts in the group, and the person that gave us permission to put these examples up. So we thank this person. So again, simple. Step 1. Step 1 should just be a couple sentences, not a full-blown story. So I have a craft project that I have to get done and I'm running out of time and I'm worked up. Simple, very simple. We do not need any background to the story, just exactly what worked you up. So step 2, again, as Nick said, we'll put our symptoms in step 2. Tightness in my chest, stomach discomfort, racing thoughts, angry thoughts. I myself will put in my thought when I do step 2. I put in my thoughts. What's my insecure thoughts I'm having right now? I do that in step 2. Did you have any impulses to act on? And then in step 3, you're going to post your spotting for your angry temper and your fearful temper. You're going to post your secure thoughts, how I changed my insecure thoughts to secure thoughts. But this is all only going to be recovery spotting. And you could put in as many spots as you want that you feel helped you. You could put 1 spot in if you want to. Sometimes people need help with spotting, so they may only put 1 spot in under their example. That's okay, because that's what we're here for, to help everybody with their spotting. And then step 4, again, we're just going to show the before and after. I would have indicted myself of not doing what I said I would do. I'm working down the symptoms by posting an example and becoming objective. Part X, endorsing. Very simple and to the point. So again, step 1 and step 4 are pretty simple to the point. Step 2 is all your symptoms, all your temper, all your insecure thoughts, your impulses. And step 3, as many spots that you can give yourself, or as little as you want to give yourself, whatever, but we're all here to help.
So this is an example that I submitted for this presentation. And as you can see, my step one is that I opened, our freezer and we had some blueberries and pomegranates, and they all fell out and they spilt everywhere, and I became worked up. And in step two, I wrote that, my feelings were rising feelings, and I had a panic and racing heart and sadness. There's a mess, the freezer's unorganized, waste of fruit, waste of money, and all that stuff. And, impulses to hit and scream at the freezer, which I didn't do. And that I can endorse for, but that was my step two. And as you can see, I did my feelings, sensations, thoughts, and impulses. They're all right there. Sorry, Kathy, I don't mean to speak in your part, but let me just clarify that the feelings, sensations, thoughts, and impulses doesn't have to be in that specific order, but as long as we can see that they're all there in step two, that's all we ask. And then in step three, I had my angry and fearful temper. And I like to spot after each temper just so that I can organize them better. So I had my, the fruit, the freezer, and all that. And I had my spots. And then the fearful temper, negative judgment, that I didn't, that I did something wrong. And I had my spots there. And then don't forget to endorse. And I endorsed for cleaning it up and controlling my muscles. And then, step four, before RI, I would have cleaned it up, but I might have done it in a angry kind of way. I would have done it in symptoms, and we've all done things while in symptoms, and we don't always do the best job when we do this, when we do it in symptoms. So, but yeah, so this is an example of, the four-step method and with all the components there.
Okay, so John, would you like to do this one?
Sure, this one is submitted by Lisa, and I'll just review it here. Step one, I went to the dentist and there was a change with the new dentist, and that is when I got worked up. So really nice, concise. Step two, I had fearful thoughts. I don't even know this dentist. Angry thoughts that nobody had told me before my appointment. Tightness in my chest, rise in feelings, lowered feeling, worry, the impulse to ask questions of what happened to the former dentist, which I acted on. Step three, angry temper at the change of dentists, angry temper at the staff at the dentist's office for not notifying me before I arrived. Fearful temper of worry. Worry is just a belief, and beliefs can be changed. I can take things in part acts. Nervous people don't like change and fear routine. Calm produces calm, and temper produces temper. I can endorse for demonstrating RI. And step four, before RI, I would have gone for a symbolic victory. This time I talked to the office manager in a cultured manner and asked him a few questions. I told him about Recovery International and how this would have been this change. I told him recovery has taught me to have peace, order, and balance. I would have yelled at him for not letting me know. I told him I am exceptional. This time I had a nice conversation, and he asked me if I had any information about recovery, which I did, endorsing. In this particular example, I like it on a whole bunch of levels, and it's so easy to relate to. It's average, it's just, oh yeah, I get that. And notice that it was posted at like 11:40 p.m. Probably not too many meetings going on anywhere except a Facebook page. Here it is.
Again, we're here 24/7 to this Facebook page is open all the time, all the time. Use it to your advantage. Even if you do not need to post an example, maybe you need some spots, you could go on and read someone else's example and read some of the spots people have given. And that may help you too at that moment to help you spot. Um, Again, you can practice giving examples for yourself and or spotting on other people's examples. It's good practice for you. It's good practice for using the recovery method. And it will help you when you need a point where you need to say, you know what, I can't reach out to anybody right now, but I really need to I need some spots. I need some help. And it's a good chance to go on the page and write out your example because before you know it, there will be spots on there for you. So it's a highly useful page. I suggest everyone, I'm always suggesting in my group for everyone to become a member become a member, and then you'll be able to join the Facebook private page. Everything is just to our advantage.